William Dong, who's the head of Taiwan research at UBS, and he joins us this morning from Taipei. A good Tuesday to you, William. So that's interesting. How did you get to 8,000?
Well, good morning. Well, I think generally the way we derived our target is basically looking at the cross-cycle valuation. And I think at that point, the 2-time price to book is our target for a median cross-cycle valuation.
Okay, so let me just ask you, you also pointed in your report to these peaking macroeconomic indicators. What macroeconomic indicators are you looking at? We had those trade figures yesterday in Taiwan, which showed 30% increase in terms of exports month on month.
Right. I think in terms of looking at export number, looking just at February, it's a bit difficult to judge because I think we have the Chinese New Year effect. But if you take January and February combined, it shows about a year-on-year increase over 50%, which are actually quite good. However, I think if you start looking further down the road, we have a low base effect coming from last year fading. So we are looking for that export number growth to actually slow to a single-digit level by the second half of the year. So that's just on the export side. On the GDP side, I think we're going to see the similar things. We have seen fairly strong GDP growth for Q4 last year. We're expecting something quite robust for Q1 as well. But we're looking for these numbers to also slow to about 3% by end of this year in Q4.
Yeah, you're talking about a normalized shipment number as well for Taiwan. Would you say that 2009 was an extraordinary year in terms of shipment numbers, even though people were just really restocking inventory and rebuilding?
Right. Well, I think in terms of fundamentals, I think Q1 of 2009 was a very difficult time frame, and we were all actually reducing inventory. I think we didn't really see a gradual replenishing of inventory until starting in Q4 of last year. Now, we think this process will continue. So if you look at it from the bottom up side, I think most of the shipment numbers going into Q1 were actually quite good. Things were actually coming above seasonal. And also on a year-on-year comparison, we're also seeing, again, the maximum acceleration in many of these shipment numbers. But as we start thinking about the second half of the year, we're probably going to see essentially a slowdown.
Okay, William, quickly, I want to get through some of these points because it's interesting that even though you expect a trade accord to be signed with China, which really has helped propel Taiwanese stocks and the markets, you say that that will have less of an effect than you thought maybe back in July of last year.
Well, I think we really need to differentiate the fundamentals versus sort of the hype by the market. If you think about the signing of the ECFA, we think it is essential. We think these are positive developments. However, fundamentally, if you look at these type of ECFA agreements or economic trade agreements, essentially, we don't really think it will really significantly boost Taiwan's GDP on a long-term basis. So while the market gets quite excited about actual signing, but post the signing, I think the market will then ask, what's next?
Okay, William, quickly here, what are the sectors worth buying into still in Taiwan? Of course, it's a very tech-heavy market.
Yeah, generally, we're positioned quite defensively now. We're more positive on the telecom space, given the high dividend yield and also the low beta of the sector. We're still modestly positive on the hardware side. We generally think that there is product cycle that we can actually focus on looking to next year, as well as the corporate upgrade demand cycle that will be up and coming sometime into next year as well. We're more cautious on the semi side. We do think that there is some inventory build, not a very serious problem, but we do think that could slow the momentum into second half for the semi space.
Okay, William, nice talking to you today. Well, UBS forecasting 8,000 for the Taiex.